Hi everybody, it's Maundy Thursday and a really key reading here today. Let's read the reading from Mark 14, reading from verse 22, right off from the start. As they ate, Jesus took the bread and blessed it, tore it, and gave it to his disciples. He said to them, "Receive this, this is my body." Then taking the cup of wine and giving praises to the Father, he declared the new covenant with them. And as each one drank from the cup, he said to them, "This is my blood, which seals the new covenant poured out for many. I tell you the truth, I will not drink it again. I will not drink again of the fruit of the vine until the day comes when we drink it together in the kingdom realm of my Father." Then they sang a psalm and afterwards left for the Mount of Olives. First of all, I just want to pick up on that they sit down at the table. This is an important time in all of history, and it occurs at a table with friends. We may not be meeting on Sundays. We may not be meeting on Thursdays. We may not even be able to meet in our house churches. But whether we are alone or whether we're in a house of people right now, it's still an important thing to sit down at the table. And sometimes this meal of bread and wine has been made a ritual, it's been made a rote, it's been made a special service, but it all begins with the household sitting down at a table. And if you think that this is the most significant event in history, it must be significant to sit down at the table with friends and eat a meal together and drink wine together. And then just from that meal, Jesus takes these very ordinary things of bread and wine. And what genius that even 2,000 years later, bread and wine is still something so common to so many meals. But taking the bread and the wine, he declares this new covenant in his blood and his body. And he does it at the household table, or the equivalent of as he's walking with his disciples. It's not a special person, it's not a special priest, it's the household. And you say, well, it was special, it was Jesus. Yes, but he was actually performing the meal that was in every Jewish family home, usually performed by the father or the senior person in the family as they drank to remember the escape from Egypt. Now, there's many things that I could draw from this, but I also want to tonight just emphasize really the importance of the table. The table for Jesus that night was a point of steadiness, a point of connection with his disciples. He sat down and gave them an opportunity to reevaluate. They didn't know everything that was coming up for them. They may have thought even at this stage it was a fairly normal Passover, though what Jesus does at this point was totally new and totally unusual. But he gives them this opportunity to reevaluate. And for the next 2,000 years, the church can sit down with this meal and reevaluate everything that's going on. And in this time of coronavirus crisis and escalating figures that we see in newspapers and things, we must be careful that we're not being driven by those figures. We must draw aside at the table of prayer, the table of family, and reevaluate what's going on. Somebody said, I really honestly don't know who it was, I've heard it attributed to Winston Churchill, said, "Never let a crisis go to waste." And what he meant was that in crisis, you have to think about all those things that normally go on. And I think through a different way of just looking at this Maundy Thursday is to think about, with everything that is going on, what is God saying to me through all this? You see, it's really important that we are concerned, because concern means that we will live safely, like unlike some people that are taking risks by not following the current guidelines. So we need to be concerned about what is happening, or we will ignore those and do foolish things. So it's rightful to be concerned, but we don't want a rightful concern to be turned in fear, because fear can be as disruptive to our lives and over our health as even this virus. Don't let fear from what is going on outside your home turn your sort of drive your emotions and your decisions and your choices. Don't let them come from fear, whether it's over your finances or whether it's over your health or whether it's over your family. Spend time at the table. Meet with Jesus at the table so that you know that your emotions are in check and you're not being driven by the fear. In 2 Corinthians 10, it tells us to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. And this is such a time for that, because there are so many thoughts that are bombarding us as we hear the latest thing coming in. Take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. Come and sit at the family table. You know, the repetitive news that keeps going on, it's bombarding our thinking. And if you let the news consume you, it will start to make you, it's like the news and the social media and everything else will be coming in and telling you what to think and telling you what you feel. But we have something that is far beyond social media, far beyond the news. Really, as we sit at the table, we remember, who am I listening to? What am I listening to? It turns out, that even in the middle of crisis, when we take time at the table, especially if we have the bread and the wine, it turns out that this crisis becomes a time for thanksgiving. Because when we are deprived of so much, we can also be thankful that we have so much and be thankful for what we are grateful for. And thankfulness it's like health to your bones, strength to your body, and it chases fear out of your house and it brings peace to your house. We're thankful for a warm home. We're thankful for a roof over our heads. We're thankful that we've got food on the table. And perhaps those things got lost in the complication of life before lockdown. But now, in the midst of coronavirus crisis, let's sit at the table. We've actually got some time to stop. Even if we're on our own, maybe the children are in bed and maybe you're exhausted at those times, but take some time at the table. It's Maundy Thursday as I do this, and tonight we're going to live stream together a service and take communion together online. Obviously, we've got to bring our own bread and wine, but that mustn't be the only time that we celebrate Jesus with bread and wine. Take other times in your household. Take some meal times where you say to the household that you have, whether it's as a family or others of you that are living together, let's take the bread to remember the body of Jesus that was broken for us to make us whole, to keep us healthy, to keep us in line with what God has. And let us drink the wine to remember that his blood was shed to wash us completely free. Yes, this is a crisis, but never let a crisis go to waste. God bless you, everybody. Keep safe and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. God bless.